So today I want to teach you all about quadratics. Now in 5.2 we only ever do simple quadratics, and I think you'll find that they're actually pretty easy. So don't be terrified when you hear the word quadratic. But before we can get to factorizing quadratics, we need to learn how to expand to form a quadratic. Okay. So here I've got brackets x plus 2 and in brackets x plus 4. And I want to expand. Now I keep in mind anytime I've got brackets happening here, I'm going to be multiplying. So what needs to happen is everything in this bracket needs to multiply with everything in this bracket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some arrows so that I don't forget. I need to multiply x with this x, and I need to multiply the x with this 4. Okay, because remember everything in this bracket gets multiplied with everything in here. Okay, so that's that bit. But also I need to multiply the 2. So the 2 is going to multiply with the x, and the 2 is going to multiply with the 4. So when you have two sets of brackets with two things inside, you need to be multiplying 2 times for each of the numbers or letters that are inside. So let's do that. So I'm going to start up here. I'm going to go x times x gives me x squared. Okay. Now my x times 4, I get 4x. Right, so that bit's done. Now I'm going to do the 2. 2 times x gives me 2x. Now lastly, 2 times 4 gives me 8. Okay, cool. Now, there are some like terms here that I can group. So this and this can go together. I can't do anything here with this x squared because you can't add things if the x is squared to ones that don't have a squared on the x. So that has to stay separate. So that is just x squared. But I can group these two. So 4x plus 2x gives me 6x. And then the 8, I can't do anything with that. That has to just come down there. So this here is called a quadratic. So in order to form one of these, we need to expand 2 sets of brackets. Let's do another one. Okay, now we've got another 2 sets of brackets with stuff inside. Everything inside the first bracket multiplies with everything inside the second bracket. Okay, so I'm going to draw arrows to remind myself. So I'm going to go x times x, and I'm going to go x times 10. But I don't stop there. I also have to multiply 5 times x and 5 times 10. So because there's 2 components inside each bracket, I need to multiply 4 times. Alright, so now let's do the x times x first. So x times x gives me x squared. Now, x times 10 gives me 10x. Okay, now my x is done. So let's move over to the 5. So 5 times x gives me 5x. Then 5 times 10 gives me 50. Now I've got some like terms here that I can add together. Can't do anything with my x squared, so it just has to stay as x squared. 10x plus 5x gives me 15x. 50, can't do anything with that, it has to stay as 50. There we go. We've expanded our brackets to form a quadratic. Okay, here we have another set of double brackets that have 2 components inside. So I need to multiply everything in this inside this bracket with everything in let's try that again. So here I have another set of double brackets. I need to multiply everything that's in this bracket with everything that's inside this bracket. So I need to multiply my x with the x and my x with the minus 7. I then also need to multiply my 2 with the x and my 2 with the 7, the negative 7. Cool, so let's do that. X times x gives me x squared. Then I've got x times negative 7. So that gives me minus 7x. Then I've got 2 times x, so plus 2x. Then I've got 2 times negative 7 gives me negative 14. Alright, again I've got some like terms, so this one and this one. So now I can't do anything with my x squared, so it just has to stay as x squared. I've got negative 7x plus 2x, so that gives me minus 5x. And here I've got minus 14. So you'll notice that because there was a negative inside one of the brackets, that changes my final number to be a negative number. And also, this one here has ended up being a negative number. Now, your middle number, your middle component doesn't always end up as a negative if you've got one negative in here, and I'll show you why. But if you've got only one negative inside your brackets, your final answer, your final component is going to be negative. All right, so let's see what happens now if this becomes a -2 over here and this becomes a +7. So same numbers, but let's see what happens. So I've got x times x gives me x squared. Then I've got x times 7 gives me 7x. Then I've got -2 times x, so -2x. Then -2 times 7 gives me -14. Now I have some like terms. So that doesn't change. I've got x squared still. But now I've got plus 7x minus 2x. So I get plus 5x. And here it becomes -14. So if you have only one negative in your set of brackets, your final component in your quadratic will be negative. However, your middle number could be positive or negative, but you'll know if one of these has a negative in there if your final component is negative. All right. So now let's find out what happens if we have two negatives inside the brackets. So, just like before, everything inside this first bracket has to multiply with everything in here. So my x is multiplied by x, and my x is multiplied by -3. Then my -4 is multiplied by the x, and my -4 is multiplied by the -3. So x times x gives me x squared. Then I've got x times -3 gives me -3x. Then I've got -4x times x gives me -4x. Then -4 times -3 gives me +12. Because 4 times 3 is 12 and two negatives cancel each other out. Okay, now I've got some like terms here that I can group. X squared doesn't change, it stays the same. -3x minus 4x gives me -7x. And here I've got +12. So, when you have two sets of negatives in your brackets, your final component will be positive, but your middle component, which is this one, that becomes negative, okay?